Hey, what's up, everybody? I hope you're doing super well. So, man, we gonna get into it today. At this point, I have coached tens of thousands of agents. I've been coaching agents since 2016. I'm going on 10 years of coaching agents, and it seems like to me every single time an agent comes to me with a lead conversion problem, okay, they're like, Ricky, how do I convert these leads? How do I convert these leads? um I start digging into their business. I start asking more questions. I start really trying to understand the root of their problem. And yes, they have somewhat of a conversion problem, but that's not really their issue. The more I dig into their business, the more I realize that they have their issue is 99% a lead gen issue. Here's what happens. Agents come to me and they're like, Ricky, I've got these sellers who want to, do this and that, how do I convert these leads? I say, great. Like, tell me more about this. I start digging in. I start understanding how many sellers, how many buyers they're actually working with and what they're doing to get more prospects into their ecosystem to convert into deals. And what I realize is that they're working with about 4 or 5 different buyers or sellers and absolutely doing nothing to produce more clients, to acquire more customers, to find more prospects. And I realized pretty quickly that this isn't a conversion problem. You can't twist somebody's arm and make them buy or sell a property. Never going to happen, right? The name of the game is not how do we get people to do stuff? The name of the game is help people do what they're already doing. But the punchline is we need more people. We need more people to help, more people to serve. We've got to bring more people into our ecosystem to understand what it is they're trying to do and why, so that we can help them do it. I'll go back to a couple of weeks ago on our coaching call, our listing mastery coaching call. There was an agent that said, hey, I've got 3 listing appointments every week and I close one of them. What can I do to close the other 2? And I said, well, yes, let's work on conversion. Let's get it to where we're knocking down 2 out of 3. Of course. However, what if we first just increased our listing appointments from 3 to 6? Like, we could do absolutely nothing in the conversion area of our business, but just increase the number of appointments we get, and all of a sudden we've doubled our business without even becoming better at conversion. Okay. Of course, step 2 is to increase conversion and take it from 2 out of 6 to 3 out of 6 and take it from 33% to 50% conversion rate. Of course, right? We can work on that. But the easier lever to pull is let's set more listing appointments. And so what I'm trying to say is that I want you to take a hard look at your business and I want you to determine, like, do I actually have a lead conversion issue, or is this just I don't get enough leads? Everyone has a conversion rate. The worst of the worst agents out there still close deals. And like, even if they haven't closed the deal yet, it's just because they haven't talked to enough people. Like, you have a conversion rate. You will close a certain percentage of the people that you talk to and offer your services to, no doubt. The question is, what is your conversion rate right now as it stands? Can we increase that conversion rate? Can we increase your skill level? Sure, we can do that. But the bigger question for me is, are we attracting enough people? Are we talking to enough people? I think this is the deeper issue. Hope you guys are doing well today. Good to see you. Glad to be here. We're going to dig right into it. I'm just going to dive right in. As I did last week, I'm going to give away a signed copy of my new book, Beyond Listings: How One Question Transforms Prospects into Lifelong Clients and Doubles Your Conversion Rate. People have been giving me rave reviews on this. It's not a long book. It's 100 pages. It's a hardback. It's kind of a smaller book. So it's not meant to be a long read. It's just meant to be a powerful read. So you can find that on Amazon. If you do not win that signed copy, I'll pick a winner at the end of the video. Hope you guys are doing super well. Let's dig right into this. And also, as I mentioned, I have my listing mastery coaching call. I do those every Monday at noon for 2 hours. I do Q&A for an hour, and we make calls together for an hour. So if you're interested in that program, set up a free coaching call, free one-on-one coaching call to learn more about your business. You can do that at rickycarruth.com, or I put a link right there in the YouTube description. All right, let's dive right up in here. Why your lead gen isn't working. Okay, so we talked about the fact that, all right, it might be a conversion issue, but most of you guys, you're trying to twist people's arm into doing deals when, in fact, you should actually take that time and go find more prospects who actually want to do something now. Instead of trying to get someone to do something that doesn't want to do anything, why don't you, like a novel idea, go find people that actually want to do stuff. I'm going to tell you this before I go any further. If you knew how many yeses were in the market for you, specifically you, to do business with you, to sell and buy properties with you as their agent, if you knew how many yeses were in the market, you'd quit spending so much time trying to turn a no into a yes, and you'd spend more time going out here and finding the easy yeses, the deals that just fall in your lap, it's just easy. Those are the deals I want. I don't want to sit here and try to twist your arm. I'm going to follow up with you. I'm going to, yeah, sure. I'm going to do everything I can do to help every single prospect I can, but I'm not going to sit here and try to twist your arm or spend or waste too much time per prospect. And this is a skill that you develop over time. You realize what prospects to spend more time on and which ones not to spend more time on. Okay. Most agents think they have a lead conversion problem. They don't. They have a lead generation problem. Okay. So there's a 4-step process and every deal. Okay. Every deal has a 4-step process. Okay. The first step in the sales process for real estate agents, right? The closing process, the first step is conversation. Okay. Number one, conversation. There has to be a conversation before anything else happens. So whatever your lead gen method is, activity is, whatever you're doing to cultivate and find leads and attract people to you, the next step in that process is to talk to them. I don't care what it is. Facebook leads, you got to call them. Open house, everybody signs in, and you the next day you call the list. Zillow leads, guess what? We get on the phone, we talk to them. Nothing happens. Nothing. We don't go to step 2, 3, or 4 until we do step 1. We don't do step 3 until we do step 2. We don't do step 4 until we do step 3. But it all starts with step 1, and that's what we're going to focus on today. Conversation, getting the conversation. Step 2, which will be a future training, is the consultation, right? The actual communication within the conversation to understand what they want to do and why, so you can help them put together a game plan, a custom game plan, by the way, to help them do whatever it is they're trying to, want to, need to do, right? Understanding it to the fullest. That's the consultation. Future training. Another future training is going to be conversion. I'm going to have a whole hour in the future. I'll do another live here where I cover conversion. And then lastly, we have the closing. So it's conversation is step 1. Nothing happens without conversation. Step 2 is consultation. Step 3, conversion. Step 4 is closing. We'll dig into all of these things in future trainings. But for now, I really want to help you iron out the problems you have in step 1, lead gen, creating the conversations, before we go any further. Because if it's like, yeah, I can help you with conversion, but if I don't, that's putting a Band-Aid on the problem, though. That's just helping you twist people's arms. What if I actually helped you solve the actual problem where we're not putting a Band-Aid on it? We're actually fixing it in a way that now you have abundance of business and you're not trying to twist people's arm. Wouldn't that be amazing? That's what we're getting into today. So the question is, how many real voice-to-voice conversations does your lead generation generate? Okay, throw that in the comments. how many real voice-to-voice conversations does your lead generation? So think about your lead generation method right now, okay? Because it's the only KPI that matters. We established step one in closing a real estate deal is having a conversation. If having a conversation is the first step in the real estate transaction, right? The first step towards the closing, okay? That's the only KPI that matters to me in terms of my lead generation. So I look at my lead generation activity and I say, okay, great. In order for me to determine if my lead generation is working at the level that I need it to work at, creating enough conversations with the right people so that my business can grow at the velocity that I desire, then all I need to think about is how many conversations, real voice-to-voice conversations, my lead generation creates. The problem becomes if your lead generation, whatever you're doing to grab leads, whatever you're doing to cultivate and, nurture, attract leads to you, if whatever that is not creating real voice-to-voice conversations, to take it a step further with the right people at the right frequency, then we've got a problem. and this is one of the biggest problems. A lot of agents are doing a lot of things, but they're not having conversations with enough people, the right people, etc., etc. Your lead generation has one job: produce conversations. Now, this is the real estate business for real estate agents. If we're in e-commerce selling sneakers online, guess what? We don't have to talk to people. We have to be really great marketers, and that's a whole different business. But as real estate agents, this is, by the way, why real estate agents still exist and will always exist, because there has to be the real live consultation, voice to voice conversation. Has to be. There's no way around it. Otherwise, we wouldn't exist. And AI can't eliminate this. A lot of people will argue with that. I believe AI is one of the greatest tools that we've ever seen. It will help agents make more money in less time. It is a tool. And I think it will be responsible for reducing the number of real estate agents in the country over the next 5 or 10 years. I honestly do. However, I believe that the agents that understand how to use it and where to use it and are digging in right now to really try to understand it, they're going to be the ones that make so much money over the next 5 to 10 years as this market rebounds and explodes. And by the way, guys, we are right now, the real estate recovery, right? I call it the 2026 real estate market recovery has already begun with the jobs report last week, a week ago. And I don't know if the Feds are going to lower rates a little bit at all in September. I'm not trying to predict what the Feds are going to do. Everybody seems to think that they will. And if they do, great, whatever. I don't really care, because I'm looking at this over the next 6 to 8 to 10 to 18 months. I'm looking at this more, medium term, that we're on the road to recovery. And guess what? Real estate markets move so slow. When the rates started to go up, it was very obvious to me that transactions were going to slow down, but prices wouldn't get affected that much. They are getting affected in certain markets, but overall as a country, guess what? We're still hitting all-time highs. And that's what I predicted, was that we would continue to hit all-time highs because of the pent-up demand, the fact that homeowners are not in trouble. But it wasn't hard to see because the market's so telegraphed. It moves so slow when it shifts. And last Friday was the beginning of a shift back in the other direction. Watch what I say. So you should be prepared. You should be preparing. So we have a definition problem with lead gen. Okay. Most agents think lead gen is just collecting information, or that there's a such thing as warm leads, right? I believe that every human is a lead. The goal is conversations. And so if every human's a lead, why do I say every human's a lead? It's because every single human in the market will either buy and sell multiple properties over the course of their life, and or know people who will. If you have somebody who's going to rent for the rest of their life, well, their mom and dad own a house, their friends own houses. Like, everyone is a lead, and you never know who's going to do what. Like, you never know when somebody's going to just pop up and say, oh, I want to buy this house. Right. So every human's a lead. If every human is a lead and the goal is conversations, obviously you can't have conversations with every human in the market. So then what do we have to do? We have to become really great at picking and choosing who we're going to talk to, who our prospects are. Like that's the greatest. That I love this business because of the fact that you literally get to choose who your clients are. And a lot of agents don't, because they're more dependent on whatever leads Zillow sends them, or their team leader sends them, or open houses send them, or social media send them. Those type of leads, in my opinion, are more dependent leads. You're dependent on the market to produce the leads for you. And you're not picking the lead. You're taking whatever they give you at whatever price they give it to you at whatever frequency they give it to you at. You have no control over any of that stuff. However, everyone has the choice. You make a choice, and you can literally choose who you want to do business with. That's the amazing thing about this business. So if you choose who you want to do business with, right, and then you focus on having conversations with those people, that's what's beautiful. So the 80-20 rule, okay? 80% of my business, my entire 20-year career as an agent, 1,000 transactions, okay? Around 800 of those were listings. 200 of those were buyers. Okay? How did I create a business? And by the way, this is how I was able to sell it. One of the many reasons I was able to sell 100 properties a year as a single agent with one assistant. Because some agents are like, well, how did you do that? How did you show all that property? And this is coming from agents who, hold on 1 second. All right, sorry about that. This is coming from agents who are getting a lot of Zillow leads and a lot of buyer type leads, and they're like just running all over the place, and they're just like, how do you sell 100 properties? And I'm sitting back and I'm like, well, 80%, 80 of those deals every year are listings in which I'm able to chill. Like I'm able to go home and hang out with my family, eat dinner, while 6 of my 18 listings are being shown by people who get Zillow leads and are on YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not saying don't do Zillow leads and don't do YouTube. Not saying that. Every single lead gen activity works. It's amazing. I know people that make $1 million with all these things. Like, pick your lane, but understand what you're getting into. Don't walk into it thinking this is the only way to do it. No, there's a lot of different ways to do it, and it's your option. It's your choice. But if you want an 80-20 business, if you want 80% of your business to be listings and the other 20% to be buyers, and by the way, the buyers are sellers who bought. Like they sell their property, they buy another house, or it's repeat and referrals. Easy deals, easy buyers, not random buyers, randos. You don't know. They're from all over the place. They come in, they're flaky, they ghost you, etc. No. The buyer, all the buyers, most of the buyers that I worked with, they didn't ghost. They were easy to work with. They had done deals before with me, or they sold a deal and bought a deal. And then I would have people that reached out to me, buyers that reached out to me about my listings. I would get some, quote unquote, like free internet leads or sign calls, let's call them, et cetera, et cetera. But 80-20, how do you get an 80-20? Okay. I'm going to tell you, this is the secret. You focus 100%, not 99, not 98, not 90, not 80, 100% of your lead gen efforts, your prospecting efforts on property owners, period. If you want 80% of your business to come from the listing side, you need to focus 100% of your lead gen efforts on property owners, who not just for listings, by the way. It's like you want those to be your prospects to buy or sell. That's the beauty of property owners. I believe this is the next slide. Yeah. That's the beauty of property owners. Right? They sell and they buy. They could do either. And I know there's a lot of buyer leads that come in that own property. I get that. But man, what's the percentage? And what is the what are the percentage of, just flakes and low quality leads? I actually have a graph. I drew it out yesterday. I don't have it to share with you. I'm actually going to share it on the next listing appointment challenge I do in the next month or so. I'll announce that next week, but I'll share that on my Vibe when I do that next challenge. But basically, like the graph shows that the more expensive leads take less effort to get the leads, but they're lower quality. Okay, that's like Zillow leads, for example. Then you got the middle tier leads that aren't as expensive as Zillow leads, maybe a little better quality, maybe about the same quality. However, not a little bit more effort because you have to like make content or run ads, etc., etc. But a little less effort than say cold calling and stuff, right? But not as expensive as Zillow leads. And then you've got like the prospecting. Your cold leads, your for sale by owners, expires for sale by owners, which are the cheapest and the highest quality, but you have to put in the most work because you have to make the calls. That's the part nobody wants to do. And so the point is, and I'll draw it out on the next challenge so you can see it more visually. But the point is it doesn't matter where you are on that graph. That I don't care where you are, as long as you understand where you are and what it entails. That's the message that I want. You can make $1 million, any way that you want. Let's see here. What's going on with my slides? Hold on one second. There we go. So here's the critical question right here. All right, here's the critical question. I want you to think about this. And I want you to slap this in the comments for me, okay? How much does it cost you to get a customer? What is your CAC, your customer acquisition cost? Most agents have no idea what their customer acquisition cost is, right? So what is the funnel of your lead gen, right? What direct path? Is it Zillow leads? Is it social media? Is it organic social? Is it paid ads? Are you door knocking? Or is it, expires and for sale by owners? Is it open houses? Like, what does it cost you dollars to acquire a customer? Like, how many customers did you have to go through? How much did those prospects call you before you got to one that actually bought or sold something? And so what is your actual real customer acquisition cost? And most agents have no idea what their customer acquisition cost is. Okay. So it's something to think about, right? And it seems like, and the reason I'm creating that graph is because the more expensive a lead is, the lower the quality of the lead is, and the less work you have to do to actually get that lead. The cheaper the CAC is, the customer acquisition cost, the higher the quality of the lead, and the more work you have to put in to acquire that lead. So it's like, okay, you've got sweat equity for higher quality leads, or you have basically, zero effort, but you pay a lot of money for super low quality leads. Again, it doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum. It just matters that you understand that there are different levels. And here's the beauty. As I said, you get to choose. You get to choose where you are. So I want to talk about, I mentioned it earlier, I want to talk about dependent and non-dependent. Okay. So let's talk about dependent leads. Okay. Dependent leads. Let me just open this back up so I can, let me open this up where you guys can see me a little better right here. Bam. There we go. So dependent leads, okay, for example, like Zillow leads, social media leads, open house leads. The reason why I call these dependent leads is because You're dependent on someone else, another company, another entity to give you these leads. And so therefore, there's several problems in my opinion. Therefore, you have no control over who the leads are. You have no control over how many leads you're going to get, and you have no control over how much they're going to cost. So you have three problems. You have zero control over who they are, how many they are, and what they're going to cost. But there's a bigger problem. And the bigger problem is you are susceptible to market swings. So when the market really dries up, whatever your lead gen source is can literally dry up with the market. And if you are dependent on a particular lead source and of this entity, whatever it might be, your team leader, your Zillow, Facebook, YouTube, open houses, even if you're susceptible to the leads the market produces for you, if the market dries up, then you're susceptible. You've got some risks there within your business. However, and let's look like dependent leads. Right. So like, for example, like if you do like, geo leads, geo farming for sale by owners, expires, stuff like that, you can get those leads for 1 penny. 1 penny. There's a 10% pickup rate. Okay. You got a 10% pickup rate. So now we're at 10 cents per pickup, per conversation, 10 cents. Let's say 1 out of 2 of those are wrong number, which that's not true. It's a lot less than that, but let's give benefit of the doubt here. So now we're at 20 cents per conversation with the right person, 20 cents. And let's say 1 out of 2 of those conversations with the right people ends up being an incredibly high quality conversation of someone who might possibly do business with you now or in the future. Now we're at 40 cents per great conversation with the exact person I wanted to talk to, not randos. Not random people I have no control over who they are, what they're going to cost, or how many of those I'm going to get. So you can control this. Okay? Dependent leads, right? Let's just say Zillow, for example. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just throwing a number out there. $500 per lead. I mean, some markets, they're charging 35% referral fees. 35%. You do a deal for $10K, they're going to get $3,500 for that lead. Now, that doesn't count, I guess, in that scenario, all the leads they gave you that didn't close, I'm assuming. I don't know how, I'm not, I'm not in the Zillow world and know exactly all the ebbs and flows of how they charge everything. But let's say $500 per lead, random buyers, not targeted. You've got zero control. Same thing, honestly, with open houses. Now, if you're using open houses to get to all the rest of the owners in the subdivision, like there's a definite, incredible strategy. And I said it the other day on our coaching call. I was Instagram Live, which I'm going to go Instagram Live right after this to answer questions. So after this, we can hop over on Instagram and I'll bring some people on the live. But somebody talked about open houses and stuff, and owners, wanting people to do open houses. And I said, listen, tell the owner, tell the seller, and this is something I used to tell sellers, like the only thing that open houses are good for is to help me get more listings. If someone wants to buy the house, they're going to see it online. They're going to come look at it with their agent. They're going to buy that house. Well, I sold a house on I've sold lots of houses doing open houses. Yeah, the people that bought it, we're going to buy it regardless if you did an open house or not. You doing the open house isn't the catalyst that pushed them over the edge to make them write an offer. That's not what happened. They saw it online. They were going to buy this thing anyway. Maybe there's an exception to every rule. Like it was like one out of 1,000 or something, like happened to see an open house and walked in and bought it. Sure. But as a rule, guys, it's not the case. So open houses, like, they're amazing at getting me more listings because I can use the leverage to talk to the rest of the owners in the subdivision. I can create more relationships and I can get more listings. If you don't mind helping me out, sure, I'll do an open house. But in terms of that being the strategy to get your house sold, sorry, And if all you do is open house to get buyers, now you're susceptible to how many buyers the market is going to give you and walk through that open house. You're dependent. So I'm just bringing up this idea of dependent leads versus non-dependent leads so that you can make a choice. So the dependency trap, right? Dependent leads, Zillow, Facebook, open houses, no control over lead flow, market crashes, lead disappearance. Non-dependent leads, for example, REDX, property owner data, full control over quality and quantity of the leads. You pick how many conversations I want to have today, who I want to have these conversations with, and at what price. So let's talk about the 4-step fix. Okay. The 4-step fix when it comes to fixing your lead generation problem. All right. Step 1, we're going to pick our people. Let me get over here so I can see what's happening up in here with the comments. Can't really see the comments too well in here. Okay. Step 1, pick your people. Pick your people. If you don't become a specialist of something, you're going to be a specialist of nothing. And the trap I see agents running into is they don't want to like commit publicly to specializing in a specific niche of property because they think it'll scare people that aren't looking for that niche away. And let me tell you something, whatever niche you pick, there's enough business in that niche for you to build a 7-figure business. And guess what? You're going to build a 7-figure business a lot faster if you have a niche. Because why? Because people that are looking in that niche are going to call you instead of the other agents that aren't in a niche, that aren't specialists of something, right? If I'm going to go to the doctor and I have something specifically wrong with me, let's say there's something wrong with my eye, I'm going to go to the eye doctor. I'm not going to go to the general doctor. I'm going to go to the guy that actually, or girl that actually specializes in what I've got a problem with. If I'm looking to buy a condo in Gulf Shores, Alabama, and I have my choice between a condo specialist and a general realtor, guess what? I'm going to pick the condo specialist. And so it also helps you kind of filter out the prospects to the prospects that you actually, get this, want to work with. Right? The people that are buying the types of properties that you want to sell. This is just one way to kind of help you do that. But this is like public, marketing. So I'm getting kind of off topic here. You want to pick your people so that you can choose the exact people that you want to have conversations with. Remember, step 1 in the entire closing process, conversations. So the question is, what types of properties do you want to sell? So part of your homework, write down your top 3 property types. Maybe it's, I want to do this subdivision and this subdivision and that subdivision. Or maybe I want to do, this street over here. And then I want to specialize in, these types of properties. Write down 3 types and then narrow that down. I want you to be specific with price ranges and locations. You need to get very specific, because if you're just chalking this up to randomness, then you're going to kind of nobody's really going to understand what you do necessarily. And that's fine, because it's a mirage, because you don't realize that people don't understand what you do exactly, that you're just a real estate agent. But when you specialize in something, it shows authority. I was the Gulf Coast condo specialist. People came to me because they knew I was the guy when it came to Gulf Coast condos. If you need to sell a condo, call Ricky. You want to buy a condo? I got the guy for you. He is the condo specialist. That's the kind of brand you want to build. But to take it a step further, that's from the marketing aspect. You want to pick your people so that you know who we're targeting to have the conversations with when it comes to your lead generation. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2 in the 4-step fix is to pick your price. Price of what? Price of your prospects. You want to pick your price. Get that? Like, okay, we go back and we understand that there is a such thing, because real estate agents don't really pay attention to this, but there is a such thing as customer acquisition costs. What does it cost you to get to the customer that actually does business with you? What did it cost? Say you had to go through, 40 prospects to get to the one that actually bought. Okay. For example, what did it cost you per prospect to get to the one that bought? Are you doing Facebook ads, Zillow leads, pay-per-click, cold calling, door knocking, open houses? What did it cost you in dollars to get to that prospect who did a deal with you? You want to know what that number is. You want to understand what it is. And then you want to understand that, guess what? You can choose what that price is based on the different lead gen activities out there available to each and every one of you. You don't have to do Red X. You can pick anything you want. But what I'm saying is figure out what your customer acquisition cost is, right? And make sure that you're talking to the right person, right? You picked your people. You pick the people you want to do business with. Now we're going to pick the price we want to pay to have conversations with those people. So we want to have enough conversations at the right price with the right people. All of this needs to be the highest quality possible. Okay. So Red X Deep Dive, 7,500 property owners of your choice in your market. Expires for sale by owners, for rent by owners, geo leads. You can literally filter out and only talk to people who own 2 million and up, 5 million and up, 10 million and up, and only talk to people who have 10 million and up if you wanted to. I had a coaching call yesterday I had 3 one-on-one coaching calls yesterday. If you guys are interested in coaching, if you're just tuning in, just set up a free call. You can go to rickycarruth.com, or I put it in the description on YouTube. But I had 3 coaching calls yesterday, and on 2 of them, our plan literally was to increase their price point. It's like they thought $1 million was so far away from reality. And I was like, but you're in a market that literally has tons of $2 to $20 million homes, tons of them. I'm like, you're doing, let's see, what was the one? You're doing like 40 deals a year. You're making like 400 grand. Like you literally could add 4 or 5 deals in the 3 to 5 mil range and literally hit 40 million added on to what you're already doing right now. And they're scratching their head like, huh? I'm like, yeah, all you have to do is go to Red X and just filter for 2 million and up homes and only call those property owners from here on out. Right? You can also use Red X for Ad Builder to target all the people you have on Red X on Facebook ads and Instagram ads. Okay? If you go in the description of YouTube, I did a full demonstration on how to use Red X. There's a discount link there. And also there's a video of me making live calls using Red X and making live calls. And those live calls get a little funny, right? There's a little entertainment factor. Okay. So step 2, pick your price. Well, I didn't realize that I could pick my price. Yes, you can. You can actually pick the price of your prospects. Okay. The math doesn't lie. 40 cents per quality conversation on Red X. Control your math, control your business. $500 for one quality conversation, I guess, if you get the quality conversation, right? With that same $500 on Red X, you could have 1,250 conversations. And the amount of money you spend on Zillow, you could have 1,250 conversations. And by the way, in the description on YouTube, or you can go to zerotodiamond.com, I have my 90-day action plan, which I'm going to update next week, but you can go ahead and download what I have now. And I've got all my scripts in there for you. I've got strategies, trade up seller strategy. I've got the trade up seller strategy, the new construction strategy, all the scripts, everything's right there for you. It's all in the description there. All right. Step 3, pledge a pact. What does that mean? It means pledge a pact with who? Pledge a pact with yourself. Pledge a pact that you're going to make your calls. And look, I don't care if you're doing Zillow leads, Facebook, YouTube, pay-per-click, whatever. Okay. But guess what? You got to call them. You got to talk to them. I don't care how you build your business, but you better be building your business. And the only way to do that is to get on the phone and initiate more conversations and plant more seeds and understand what people are trying to do and why, so you can help them do it. Get out there and serve people. Okay, so make a pact with yourself. I'm going to have 10 daily conversations with the exact people I want to do business with. That's going to turn into 50 weekly conversations. It's going to turn into 1 deal weekly at least, right? 200 monthly conversations. You're closing 4 deals a week. I mean, four deals a month. And the part is that people, like agents, are scared to make calls. And so we do all this that we can to avoid making calls. And here's the problem. The reason why you're not where you want to be is because you haven't become the person who can do the thing, who can have what you want to have. Period. End of story. And so the reason that you're not there yet is because you keep retreating from becoming the person. It's like you've got to continue in the steps. You've got to keep momentum moving forward. Momentum is an object in motion remains in motion until acted upon by an outside force. Okay. Inertia, right? So inertia is an object at rest will remain at rest until acted upon by an outside force. So you either have inertia or you have momentum. And the question is do you have inertia or momentum? And if you have inertia, right? Inertia is an object at rest. You at rest will remain in rest until acted upon by an outside force. What is the outside force? The outside force is you. You got to be the outside force that acts upon the object that's at rest and start moving it so that it can build momentum. Once it has momentum, then it's going to remain moving until acted upon by an outside force. Who's the outside force that can stop momentum? You. You have the control whether your business, whether your life has inertia or momentum. If you're going to allow yourself to stay at rest and say, you know what, I don't want to make calls because I'm scared about what somebody's going to say. You're worried about something that's not even going to happen. You're worried about you're building anxiety around something that may or may not happen, and allowing that future that you have made up in your mind, a story that you made up in your mind, to dictate the success or failure of your business. Because guess what? You got to talk to people to do business. And so the question is, if you're telling yourself a story that doesn't serve you and it's freezing you right in your tracks, then why don't you just tell yourself a different story that actually serves you? You can just tell yourself a different story. What's the different story? That these people are going to love you, that they're going to want to do business with you, that they're happy to hear from you, which, by the way, is exactly what happens. People call Zillow leads and they're like, these are warm leads. I love Zillow leads. And I'm like, well, have any of them ever been mean to you, rude to you, or cussed you out or hung up on you? And they're like, oh, yeah. I'm like, okay, but you love them, right? Why do you love them? You love them because you've perceived that they're warm leads when they're really not. But because you've perceived that they're warm leads, you walk into that conversation with a very jovial, enthusiastic, optimistic, positive vibe. And so the prospect automatically starts liking you, and you're like, I can really convert Zillow leads really well, but I can't really convert cold calls really well. Okay? There's no difference in a Zillow lead and a cold call lead. Nothing at all. The only difference is your perspective going into the call and what your vibe is when they answer, which changes the whole mood of the call. So when you cold call someone, you're going into them with a different vibe than the Zillow lead, because the Zillow lead, you think that they want to hear from you when really they don't know who you are. But because you think they want to hear from you, you have a great call because they're like, oh, this is a cool person. I can talk to this person. They're selling me, they're helping me with some real estate stuff. When you call the cold call, you're thinking this person doesn't want to hear from me. So therefore you have a weird vibe and it ends up being a weird call. But if you would take a list of property owners and pretend like they're Zillow leads, you would make so much money, you wouldn't be able to count it. Okay. I did an entire video on overcoming your fear of cold calls, and I gave you guys an incredible exercise to just slow down, make one call at a time, take 2 weeks and make one call at a time, and after every call, take notes on where it went awkward, what they said, and what you're going to say next time a prospect says the same thing to you. And over the course of a couple weeks, you create this list of comebacks, And you start to hear some of the same exact things over and over again, and you have the perfect comeback that makes the conversation seem very natural, organic, and amazing. And they walk away from the conversation thinking, oh my gosh, this person was on top of their game. And so that's what you do to become a master at this game really, really quickly. I did a whole video on that. You'll just have to go back a couple podcasts and dig on it, which brings me to practice on prospects. So that's exactly what I had here on this slide. So let me go back one. Yeah. So pledge a pact to make your calls. Step 4, practice on prospects. What did Allen Iverson say? We talking about practice. What do you call a doctor's office? Practice. Why? Because they are practicing on you. You're walking in there thinking they know what they're doing? No. They are practicing. When you make calls, you are practicing. This isn't the real thing, guys. This isn't the game. This isn't the make it or break it. It doesn't matter what happens on this call, the next call, or any call. It doesn't matter. Why? Because number one, it's practice. But number two, if you're going to be the juggernaut agent that you say you're going to be, and you're going to sell 1,000 properties, 2,000 properties, 3,000 properties, do you think that one call that went weird is going to make or break your career? That's a joke if you think that's the case. It's even a joke if you think one deal falling through is literally the make it or break it for you. You got to be bigger than that. You got to be stronger than that. That ain't the make it or break it of you. You are the make it or break it of you. And you got to have the perception and the expectations of great things happening, even when things go bad. Whatever you're going through is what you were meant to go through so that you could help the people you were sent here to serve. Go through whatever it is you're supposed to go through as quickly as possible. Why are we waiting? But we want to practice on people, practice on your prospects, right? The problem, fear kills consistency. It keeps you see that your anxiety of calls makes you run back to the dependent leads that are dependent on the market or an entity to give you the leads, to turn right around and call the people that you got from the leads that you didn't want to call from. Right? It's scary how much money agents spend not to make calls, to turn right around and call the leads that they spent the money to get. So what's the solution? Go slower on your calls. Make one call at a time. Take notes after each call. Build that inventory of comebacks. Sound like a master in weeks. You're only worried about what people are going to say to throw you off. Hell, go at it as hard as you can to get people to throw you off so you can see where those problem areas are and fix them immediately. You never have to worry about it ever again. Do it now before the market turns around, because when the market resurges, it's going to be too late, guys. When the market turns around and goes the other way, which it's in motion right now, we're at the bottom right now. The jobs report was the bottom. From here, it's going to be a slow slide right back up, very slow. It's almost going to seem like it's not even going up, but it is. It's called The Slight Edge. And you guys should read that book, The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. That's what's happening in the market right now, both ways. If you don't tackle your career and take back control of your career right now, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life, because we're not going to have another opportunity like we have right now with the resurgence that we're going to have and the decade that we're fixing to have as real estate agents, with all the technology and the number of transactions that are going to become the new norm. This is the greatest opportunity that you will ever have in your life as a real estate agent. Right? Not saying outside of being a real estate agent, but as a real estate agent, this is the greatest opportunity you will ever see. And you're going to regret it if you don't go all in right now. Just saying. So let's just take Sarah's transformation. She came to me. She was spending $800 a month on Facebook ads, about $40 per lead. She's dependent on the market. She's dependent on Facebook to send her leads. We cut that budget in half to $400 on RedX. Now she's getting 40 cents per conversation, 15 listings per month, 50% budget, 50% of what she was spending 100 times, 100x more conversations. That's what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. So we want to break this dependency trap. Pick your people. Define your ideal prospect. Like, who do you want to work with? Because guess what? You do get a choice. You do get a say so. And by the way, if you ask me, let's just boycott Zillow. Like, let's just boycott them. Like literally just quit getting Zillow. Like, just shut them down. Like, shut Zillow down. If agents quit getting Zillow leads, then what would they do? That's a good question. They would figure it out. They would change their business model. They would do something else. They would charge people to put listings on their website, or, start, being more consumer centric, like charging consumers for certain things. Who knows what they would do? But the point is, why don't we boycott Zillow leads? I've been saying it for a long time. Let's boycott them. So pick your people. Number one, this is how you break the dependency trap. Pick who you want to work with. Don't allow companies and brokerages and lead gen companies to pick your people for you, because if you don't pick your people, somebody's going to pick your people for you. Right? The next, we want to pick our price. What do we want to pay per lead, per conversion, per deal, per customer? What's our customer acquisition cost? Right? If you guys do want to use RedX, I put all the links in the description on YouTube, a discount, a demo, me making calls live, so you can watch me in action actually calling these prospects. Number three, pledge a pact with yourself to have a certain number of conversations every single day. Guess what? Starting tomorrow, starting right when you get off this call. Number four, practice on your prospects, right? Make calls, take notes, build skills. This isn't rocket science. Anybody can do this, right? Here's your weekly challenge. At least 50 conversations with property owners. Well, I didn't mean to put daily right there, but weekly, 50 conversations. So 10 a day, 10 property owner conversations a day. Track your numbers, cost per conversation, right? I want to know what your numbers are. Appointment set. How much did it cost you per appointment? Right? Share your results in the Facebook group. I got the Zero to Diamond Facebook group. There's over 40,000 agents in that Facebook group. I put a link in the YouTube description. I've got a link. You can go to Facebook and just search Zero to Diamond Real Estate Agents Facebook group. Okay. Post your results in the Facebook group. I made this many calls. I got this many conversations. It cost me this much. I got a lead. I got a listing. I got an appointment. And compare this to your previous methods, right? Join the Facebook group and join the ranks of agents who control their own destiny. Oh, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to give away the book. So if you would like a signed copy of my newest book, I'm going to give one of these away right now today. Just comment me in the comments in the live chat. Beyond Listings: How One Question Transforms Prospects into Lifelong Clients and Doubles Your Conversion Rate. How do you measure cost per call, Cynthia? Because the leads cost you. And by the way, I'm going to go live on Instagram right after this, immediately after this, to answer you guys' questions. But the way that you find out what it costs you per call is you divide how much you're paying on RedX by how many leads you got on RedX, and that's how much you're getting per contact information. And then how many dials did it take to get to the conversation? That's how much it cost you. And by the way, when you run Facebook ads, you'll see this in the RedX demo in the description. When you run Facebook ads on RedX, it's only running to the property owners in your RedX database. And so with Facebook ads, most people run Facebook ads to get data. Well, you're doing Facebook ads in reverse with this. You already have the data. You're just running Facebook ads so they know who you are before you call them. I mean, okay. So I read you guys the first paragraph of the intro last time. This time I'm going to read, let's see. I'm going to read, I think I read actually the first paragraph of, let's see. I want to read you guys a little something. Let's see. I'm going to go to chapter 2. Okay. Chapter 2, the fatal flaw. The biggest mistake in real estate isn't what you say, it's what you don't ask. And this is a story here about a call that opened up my eyes. This is a true story about a property owner who wanted me to sell his property and stuff. And I asked him the magic question, and what happened next changed everything I knew about prospecting. So that's in the second book here. Let me see who won that, and then I'll switch over to Instagram. Let's see, Cynthia, you asked me a question. I'm going to go with you, Cynthia Marshall. So Cynthia, just email me, Ricky_Carruth, your address, and I will get that book out to you. All right. And if you guys would like to be part of the coaching program, I do a call every Monday, and I do some one-on-one as well. The first step there is just to set up a coaching call, a free coaching call. We'll learn more about your business and tell you everything that's included. Just set up a call at rickycarruth.com, or I just put the link in the description here on YouTube. And outside of that, guys, God bless. And I'm going to switch over to Instagram now to do some Q&A. So I'll see some of you guys over there. For the rest of you guys, we'll see you on the next video. And until then, keep selling. Let's go, guys. 2026 in the house. Let's get it.